Hello dear friends, John Yoshkai has returned to his domain and ready to please with content. More than a month ago I promised video about King Crimson, but my hands didn't reach this difficult question. Now I have time and I'm ready to talk with you about how King Crimson works. We will understand what his ability as a whole is like, how the Reason of Time works, and whether it can be described by physics. Hey buddy, you love anime and want to get cool clothes? Your time has come. Beautiful Hollow is the place where you can buy hoodie with your favorite anime style. Jojo, One Punch Man and in designs are waiting you here. Choose what you want. One you need is to use the link in the description and scan codes for large purchases. Enjoy. Oh, you wanna know how King Crimson works? Yeah, I think you won. But since the topic is not simple, we'll start with the obvious facts. King Crimson is a stand of the main villain of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Golden Wing, Diavolo. Figuratively speaking, King Crimson can erase time. With his ability, the Diavolo enters a space where he gets out of the influence of time. In such circumstances, only the Diavolo and King Crimson can perform conscious actions. Everything else happens unconsciously, in itself, automatically. An obvious example. If a person, or a cat, or some other living creature moved before the ability was activated, then during its action they will move in original direction, as well as after the time erase. Also, they won't be able to remember what they did during the King Crimson action. For them there will be an instant transition from the initial position to the final. The question arises, how do they perform actions if the consciousness doesn't work during the race time? In fact, everything is simple. They continue to do what they thought at the moment the ability started. For example, you think, oh boy, I want to drink some green tea or coffee. And you go to the kitchen and make it. Even if King Crimson activates his ability, you will still make the tea, coffee. Because you haven't thought about it before King Crimson erased time. In addition to the examples I mentioned earlier, this explains why in erased time Bucciolati attacked the place where the burst was originally. And the next time he attacked with a hand from unzipped lightning, it flew further and hit the pillar. With the simplest we figured out. And let's see what erased time is and how it relates to the predictions of Epitaph. In general, it's better to say first what Epitaph is capable of doing. I think if you watched anime or read manga, you can imagine what this terribly funny face, put on a just terrible face, can do. Epitaph can predict events that happen in 10 seconds. This is an additional ability of King Crimson, and therefore the Diavolo was able to give this ability to Doppio, who is in the same body with him, but it's just two different souls or identities, and nothing more. Unlike time erase, Epitaph can make pretty incredible predictions, but most of them really come true. How does this work? Of course you can say it just works, but what if not? We know that in Jojo the concept of fate and predestination is real. In the Golden Wing we see this on example of Rolling Stones stand, which is able to influence the fate of people, predicting them a quick death. Almost all people and events are subject to fate. Diavolo himself says,
no one can escape the fate that was chosen for them.
It seems that most of the events that were supposed to happen were predetermined in advance. Epitaph is able to interact with destiny and reproduce future events. However, Epitaph once made a mistake, and besides, for the last time. The prediction about Jonah's death after receiving the God Experience Requiem turned out to be false, but only because of the ability to prevent any damage in reality that would harm the stand's user, that is, Jonah. This also affected the King Crimson erased time, literally unwinding it back to the moment before the attack. GR is the living embodiment of the phrase "know you", which you yourself know very well. So, how to understand what is in the erased time of King Crimson?
Sure, okay, he erases time, but what does that mean? How do you erase time, but stuff still happens in it?
Many people believe that this stance simply disables the perception of time for all creatures. because they can't react to change around themselves, and for them, time skip looks like an instant jump in time. A fairly plausible theory that well explains many aspects of King Crimson's work. And I would have adhered to it too. If not one but. One very big but. Do you remember the moment when Risotto used Metallica to gain control of Aerosmith and kill the boss? So, if King Crimson manipulated perception, then all objects of the physical world would continue to exist materially and interact normally. In this case, Diavolo would have had to dodge bullets flying at him, which he couldn't have done in an exhaust state. However, a completely different thing happens. The bullets simply fly through, without harming the boss, as if it didn't exist in the material world at this moment. This simple scene shows that the reason of time is something deeper in its sense and in its understanding. So finally it's time to voice my own theory. I think that activating King Crimson's ability creates a new dimension, similar to Sticky Fingers' pocket dimensions. This world is arranged in the same way as the world around us. The key difference is that in King Crimson's world time doesn't exist. It's simply not. According to
Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia,
time is the indefinite continued progress of existence, and events that occur in apparently irreversible succession from the past to the present to the future. Also is the prerequisite for the possibility of changing something in the material world. So let's look at how the things happening in Golden Ring fit with my theory. First, in King Crimson's world, nothing exists materially. Therefore, it cannot materially interact, even though no understand and change. This is proved by the fact that Diavolo couldn't attack anyone during the duration of the ability. Also, Aerosmith bullets went through Diavolo without hitting him, because they didn't interact with his body. Second, how then can anything move if time doesn't exist in this dimension? In fact, only intangible projections of objects move, but, as I said earlier, during the King Crimson's time race, they can't interact. Third, why does no one except Diavolo remember what happened in the race time? If there's no time as such, then there's no change. And indeed, for everyone, the length of time at which time was erased passed with an instant jump. Nothing can change outside of time, as I said earlier. That's why a spontaneous change occurs after the end of the ability. Anything that could happen during the race time and could have had consequences didn't happen in that dimension. Therefore, there are no memories left. That's all, I think. I've covered the main issues related to King Crimson, and I think that my theory explains the work of It Just Works stand really well. If you have questions, ask them in the comments. I'll try to answer them, although the topic is quite complicated. I agree that King Crimson is a really hard stand to understand. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to Love at Jojo from the bottom of our hearts and gain more knowledge about all of our Jojo's beloved universe. See ya!